Solo due parole in italiano per dire che tutta la giornata sarà in inglese, quindi so we'll get started in English all day. Welcome, welcome. Thank you for coming here today to the 2023 Open Day. Our guest of honor is Gilad Rosenzweig, who's going to be speaking right after me and introducing the program. But before we do that, I'm going to start by introducing myself. I'm Fabio Carrera, founder and president of SerenDPT, which is the benefit corporation that operates this space. So MIT DesignX is a collaboration between SerenDPT and MIT DesignX, the original one in Boston. So I'm going to start by explaining SerenDPT first, and then Gilad is going to explain all about DesignX. So SerenDPT stands for Serenissima Development and Preservation Through Technology. It's a benefit corporation that aims to rehabilitate the city of Venice by creating jobs that will create salaries that will allow people to move back into the city. As I think you all know, Venice has lost 2/3 of its population since World War II, and our goal as a benefit corporation is to help with the repopulation by inspiring and supporting the creation of high-quality jobs. Where we are, we call H3 Factory this space. As you can tell, it was part of a convent right next door of Benedictine nuns found in the 1500s. So it was a church, as you can tell, first for hundreds of years until the Republic of Venice fell, and then it was abandoned. And in the 1800s, during the Austrian domination of Venice, this was turned into a factory like most of the Giudecca was. A lot of factories with German names on the Giudecca. This was called Herian with an H. And they made garments inside this place for about 100 years. So these floors that you see here used to go all the way down, each one of the apses. You can see in this picture that it cut right across the arches, and the frescoes were all painted white for 100 years. So it was, as you walked in here, there would be a ceiling, basically, over your head. And that went on until the 1980s, and then it was abandoned as a factory, and the city acquired it in the early 2000s and then restored it to what you see today, which was restored specifically to be an incubator for startups. And so basically they cut off the floors of the factory, brought the frescoes back out, and converted it into this beautiful space that we're in today. And this is designed to be a place for incubation of companies. So SerenDPT, as part of its mission, has 3 main pillars, and they're research, culture, and startups. So research, quickly I want to say that we're part of a European grant that we're going to be presenting on July 6th and 7th here in this very room. It's called Smart Desk. I'll tell you more later in the day. And also we have been hosting since 1988 students from Worcester Polytechnic Institute in Massachusetts, which is where I teach. And there are some students, raise your hand, in the crowd today. We have a group of 18 students from WPI in town until the middle of July. For culture, we have Emanuele Vilch-Barberio, who is the person behind, here he is. He's the person that operates the cultural activities in this space. If you come here on weekends, there'll be concerts, music, and production, more importantly, of works of music, mostly in this beautiful, acoustically beautiful space. And it's all thanks to Emanuele, who also is doing the sound for us today. And then the third part is the startups, and in that realm, we've done some of our own work on startups, but most importantly, nowadays, the concentration for the startup pipeline is this program, MIT DesignX Venice. Basically, it's a replica of what they do in Boston. As Gilad would tell us, They've been doing it in Boston for 7 years, or is it 8? Yeah, 7 years. And so the program we do here is a compressed version of the program that they've been doing successfully in Boston for 7 years. And we not only hope to replicate the program, but also replicate the success of the program by launching 10 startups every year through this program, and hoping that some of them locate in the city of Venice and then actually thrive and create the jobs that we look forward to creating, and therefore creating new citizens and repopulating the city. So the first year was last year. We ran the program already last year. We had a bunch of events leading to the submissions last year. We had 56 submissions last year, and we selected 10. The 10 that we selected are listed here. Some of them are here. Raise your hand if you're a startup from last year. Sandro, raise your hand. Yeah, it's 2. I don't know where the other ones are, but they'll be here because they're presenting today. These 4 will be highlighted later in the morning, and they will present, where they were when they started, how MIT DesignX helped them, and where they think they're going in the future. You can find all of last year's presentations and pitches on our YouTube channel if you want to watch them. And so now we're in the 2023 second year program. As you can tell, we've done a few events already before today. We are there today. Right after today, we're going to go to Rimini to the We Make Future startup fair, the 3-day long big event, supposedly the biggest startup fair in Italy. So we're going to be there right after this. And then, as I said earlier, in July, we have the Smart Desk Innovation Camp. And then submissions, deadline is July 31st. They're open right now, the submissions. If you want to submit, you can do it right away. Those that are selected then go on to do the actual program, which is in the fall. And Gilad comes back and forth every few weeks and follows the teams all the way to the final pitch in December. So basically, the program is open to anyone who wants to participate. There's some money given to the teams to essentially cover the expenses of participating, because we want people to be here in person. There's prizes for the final best 3 teams at the end. And SerenDPT, our company, hosts the best startups that actually that choose to locate in Venice. We host them for free here, hoping that then they become really part of the fabric of our city. We also provide support to the companies that choose to locate in Venice in the form of support teams from WPI. And we have a team here that is supporting PESCO, one of the startups. So these are American students from WPI helping the startup from last year figure out its markets and so forth, and they're doing a great job. And you'll hear about them later. So, essentially, we have 4 themes. The themes are these: basically conservation of heritage, sustainable tourism, the environment, broadly speaking, and tools for cities and citizens. So everything, these are pretty broad, so almost everything fits under here, where there's certainly certain things that don't. So we don't do everything, we do these themes. In order to participate, you have to be at least 2 people. You can't just participate by yourself. And the maximum size of a team is 5, so 2 to 5 people apply as teams. And the submissions, as I said, are already open. If you want, you can submit any day. These are the preliminary events, and as I said, the next one is on July 7th, but today is the big one with Gilad. The submissions are at this address on our website. There's QR codes all over the place that you can use as well. So then, after the applications come in, we use these criteria to select the best, what we think are the best 10 startups that then go through the program. We want what people do to have an impact, not just about making money, but also to make a difference in the world. They have to be feasible, unique, and scalable, so they promise to create the kind of revenue that then can create jobs for the city. And of course, the team is hugely important, so we look very carefully at the makeup of the teams that participate. And then the winners go through the program in the fall, and they receive funding from the Fondazione di Venezia, who kindly provides money for the teams. So, what are we going to do today? I'll let Gilad explain what we're going to do today. But I'm just going to start with a quote that everybody's heard. You know, genius is 1% inspiration, 99% perspiration. Today, we're going to change that balance. It's going to be 50% inspiration in the morning and 50% perspiration in the afternoon. So this morning, you're going to hear about the successes from Boston and also from our own startups. And then in the afternoon, you're going to be working on your own ideas and problems, and you get a feeling by doing this about how MIT DesignX works in the full program. So today's a little appetizer of what the program is like in the fall. So without further ado, I'm going to pass the baton to Gilad, who's here from Tel Aviv. Let me switch you over.
Hi, everybody. That last quote, actually, with Edison just reminds me, I'm reading a book right now called The Grid, which, has anybody read The Grid? You read it. So it's about how the electrical grid really got started in the world. And we take it for granted that we just have electricity and it comes from different places and it's connected to a grid. But it's actually pretty amazing how it got started. Italy had a lot to do with it as well. I think one of the first grids, I'm forgetting which city had it in Italy, but it was here and also in New York. And Edison started it. They would make a power station and then put wires connecting it to people, right? And originally it was DC, so it couldn't go very far. It could go like 100 meters and then no more power. But it's super interesting, and what I love about it is that electricity wasn't invented in a day, and the light bulb wasn't invented in a day, and nothing was created like that. It took a lot of perspiration. It took so many mistakes and things blowing up, literally, when it comes to electricity. And only by thinking, okay, what can we do with an idea? How can we take this new technology we've discovered, or this new need for power that we have, and then do something with it? And it took decades. It took from 1890 until 1960 till they got it right. And then since then, we've only made a few more incremental stages, and now actually we're at this new stage of the energy transition, where we have to move away from fossil fuels and get into renewables, and it's opened up, really in the past few years, a brand new market for us as entrepreneurs and innovators. Okay, I'm not the scientist behind this, of course, but I am one of the people that is trying to get others to realize that there's so many opportunities that we have to now take advantage of, not for ourselves, but for the world. Anyhow, that's my way of transitioning from that last slide of Edison, which I find interesting, into what we do at DesignX. So it's been 7 years now, entering our 8th, and we are based at MIT in Boston, in Cambridge, but we've been already from year 2. We couldn't stay within our 4 walls at MIT, and we decided let's do more work with the world. And also MIT, like 30% of our students come from around the world, or more even. And we can't just stay in that bubble. So we decided to start working in places like Reykjavik, Venice. Now we're also doing work in Mexico City, Dubai, and Hong Kong. And it all started, though, from this idea at MIT that in the School of Architecture and Planning, and now we have a new thing called the Morningside Academy for Design, which means design really belongs everywhere, not just for architects, but also for engineers and scientists. And the idea was that there are so many people within the design fields and planning fields that have ideas that don't know business, right? So, I was one of them originally. I was trained as an architect, and eventually I had to figure out the business part of things. Where does the money come from? And not just for me personally as a business person running an architecture firm, but then how else can we create impact, and how else can we create the opportunities for more jobs and make something new, just like an engineer or a scientist might come up with something, or a business person. And that's why entrepreneurship and business ended up in a design school, and us as designers are creating this program where we really challenge people and draw from people the ability to create businesses and ideas. Everybody can be an entrepreneur. I think that's a fair statement to say. Not everybody wants to be, which is also fair. Like I said, we're doing this around the world. We're actually talking to people in Ghana now as well, because I really want to make sure that we go to the continent that is going to be growing the most in the next few decades. The biggest cities in the world are going to be in Africa by, I think, 2050. So it's another sign of, wait, you got to look into the future, not just in the past when we're talking about entrepreneurship and innovation. We do what we do with students. We also do this with our corporate partners. We also do this in different contexts, like here. Sometimes it's for-profit, sometimes it's social. We're doing a project in Reykjavik only with nonprofits, and taking them through really the same curriculum that I'm going to briefly talk to you about. The most important thing for me, or for anybody, really should be the people. It's the relationships you build, it's the connections you make with people. Nothing happens without the right people coming together to actually create something, to be energized, to have fun, to be serious at sometimes as well. But in order to convince other people and yourselves that an idea can actually turn into something. And we spend a lot of time at the personal level. In fact, and the people who were in our program last year know, the first day of our program, it's really introspection. It's understanding, why on earth are you doing this? And then we get to the project that you're doing. And I think that's very important, that everybody should take that into consideration. In 7 years now, we've been able to do what we're doing with hundreds of people. So the first number is how many people actually on a yearly basis join us at MIT. We're now doing a lot of things online. We have online courses, and we've had over 3,000 people attend those. And then, of course, in our different programs around the world now, actually I have to keep count. Like just 2 weeks ago, I was in Mexico City, and we had 250 people attend an Ideathon. So there's a big world out there for us to grow into. Just a few numbers, and this is not the first thing we talk about, but it's important, right? Because if you want a business to grow, you need money. A good business, a good idea, will get funding. And the reason an idea doesn't go forward is not because it doesn't have funding, it's because the idea wasn't well developed, right? Funding is just the sign that you did all the work. Our teams have, this is only at MIT, so if we talk about the teams here, or Reykjavik, or Dubai, they've raised a lot more money already, but just at MIT, they've raised $110 million from venture capital, another $5 million in grants, and their valuation, the number in the middle, is over $300 million. And we have two teams that are they're working on their Series B. So these numbers are going to jump, right? It goes like that. You can read about the teams all over the place, which is wonderful. They're making headlines in the news, not just in the United States, but all over South America and Europe as well. Our teams are distributed around the world. We have quite a few actually in Latin America. That's been a big, a lot of our participants at MIT come from Chile and Colombia and Argentina, but we've also had teams from with Italians and French. Am I making that sound? No. Okay. The teams, these are four of the ones that I like to highlight all of them, but I'm just going to briefly talk about these four. The first one, BioBot. Just a quick story of like how a team is born. So these were two researchers at MIT. One on the right, Mariana, she was a PhD in biology, and on the left was Nusha, and she was doing a not a postdoc, but just research in city planning. And they got together in the same lab, and their project was, how can we use sewage to improve the health of a city, right? So it just started from that, the sewers with our pee and our poo. And after some brainstorming, they were able to, the scientists said, well, we can identify disease, right? And that's not new, right? You're able to take a sample and say, hey, we have cholera, right? We can do this for decades. But then the planner said, what if we mapped this around the city, and then we're able to identify the trend and see where the disease will be next, rather than where it was. And that was sort of the innovation. And then it went back and they said, well, we can do that too, but it takes like 2 weeks. And they said, well, what if we can do it quicker? What if we put a robot into the sewer, and as it was collecting the sample, it was already doing some of the work to analyze it. And it just kept on going back and forth like this. And then they joined us roughly around that period. And then they said, okay, who will pay for this? Like, who's this a business for? And it turns out cities want to improve the health for their residents. So they started opening up the sewers, and they started doing these pilot programs, and were able to make a couple contracts. Once they finished DesignX, very quickly they already got some funding because they had an amazing idea. They were able to patent one of their products, and it was proof that the cities were interested. And they started building this, and then COVID happened. And right after they got some funding, and at first like, oh my God, what are we going to do? And then said, wait a minute, we can test for COVID. And they instead of testing for cholera or for opioids, which is what they started, within 2 weeks they changed it. They could test for COVID. And now they're one of the biggest testers in the world of COVID. And what they do is they test samples across the city, and instead of taking blood tests or seeing who comes to the hospital, they can tell you, the cities all have a dashboard, and they have 100 employees, and they're making a lot of money already, because they can tell a city on a daily basis how much COVID there is in the city. They're able to analyze it and make their predictions. They're now applying this. COVID is going to end, or it already did to a degree, so now they're doing this for other things. In the United States, opioids is the biggest problem. Right? More people are dying from opioids than almost any disease. It's extremely problematic. They can test this and tell you where it's happening. But that's an example, though. 2 people came together and sat at a day like today, and then fast forward 5-6 years, and they have a company with 100 employees. So it's amazing to see that happen very quickly, and they're doing something really important. I'm not going to talk about every team here, but they are. I can chat about it later with folks. But how do we do this? Again, the problem that we've identified and people know is that most startups fail. Okay, 90%, 95% of startups fail, 9 out of 10. And of the ones that do succeed, only 1 out of 200 actually manage to scale. So it's a very small amount. So our mission is, how can we improve these numbers? How can we have fewer people failing? And one of the main problems of why somebody fails is this one: no market need. Nobody actually needs what you're doing, right? And people say, oh, but we didn't get funding. That's not the problem. That's the reason. That's just identifying that you didn't have the market need, probably. Or you made something that was just not good for customers, right? So these 3 things alone, which add up to, I should remember this, what they add up to, like 70%, is just based on you're making something nobody wants, so it's not going to work. Sometimes there's an issue with the people who just can't bring it forward, but you can fix that, or you can hire somebody. You can do something about that. But you can't do something about the original problem, that if you missed it, you missed it. And so we work with people to use what we call the design approach, to spend way more time at the beginning when it's cheap and easy to make sure you're solving the right problem. There's two little diagrams there. The one on the top is what we call the idea-based approach, which is, oh, I have an idea, let's develop it, and then see what happens at the end. And then you run out of money and time because you didn't hit the mark. If you spend more time in this red diagram, where you spend way more time at the beginning understanding the problem, doing some testing as much as possible, and really making sure that before you start solving it, you're on the right track, you're going to have a much better chance at succeeding. So we do that in our program. This is don't have to tell you what every single box here is, but we have 4 phases. Understand the problem, understand why you're dealing with the problem. Phase 2, solve, so understand. Solve, actually putting together the solution with a problem, the problem-solution fit. That's the first thing that you do before you move forward. You then figure out the value, so what's called the value proposition, why somebody would pay for this. And then you start figuring out how it's going to work, and you start prototyping. In Envision, the 3rd phase, this is more like business school, right? So this is literally a business model, operation model, the organization, who's on your team, who else you need on your team, and the vision, right? So we threw in vision here. Vision can go in several places, but we actually talk about that in the business side, is that, okay, if I succeed, this is what's going to happen. This is what we call the theory of change. This is how the world is going to be a better place. And if you tie that in together with the business, again, it leads to more success. And then finally, deploy. So you have the great idea, you've proven it works, you got the right people, now you got to make a plan. Otherwise, again, if you stumble too long in this period, you lose steam, people lose interest, and the money goes away. How do you make a plan for 6 months, 1 year? Where's the money coming from? How are you going to tell people? How are you going to communicate to people what you're doing to make sure you're always, you're developing? Every month you hit certain goals, every year. And we spend a lot of time at the end on that. So it's going to jump up to here. Like I said, we're obviously here in Venice. I'm going to be back in Mexico City in 2 weeks, and then Hong Kong. And we just signed a deal with Dubai to work on a program. And what we do, actually, just one last second here, we try to do something unique to every city that we're in. So we're not just taking our program and just copying it and let's see if it works here. We see what are the needs in the city, and like Fabio mentioned, there's a specific goal and mission of SerenDPT, and there's a reason why we're doing this in Venice. So we're looking for teams and people that are going to be supportive of that. In Mexico City, we're dealing with the energy transition. So this has to do with our partners there as well. They want to move from fossil fuel, the whole world does, from fossil fuel energy to renewables. That's easy to say. What does it mean? How are you going to do it? What are the changes that are going to be needed? And there's a lot of great ideas percolating there. And then lastly, in Dubai, they're looking at supply chain logistics and also sustainability. And Dubai, they do think forward there. It's a really interesting place, and they want to be leaders always in what's next. So that's our goal there. Finally, I don't do this alone. I'm one of several people. My partner at the top left there is Svava Grunfeld. She participates in the programs as well. We kind of go back and forth to different places. We developed the curriculum together. She actually has a PhD in organizational design and has worked in several large pharmaceutical companies, right? And even though she's worked with gigantic generic drug companies, she's able to apply the same methodology to a small startup of 2 people. And we realized we can do that quite well. Dennis, Frenchman in the middle, he's the architect and planner who hired me at the school. And what he instills is this vision or the inspiration to always be experimental and think crazy. Don't let somebody tell you, no, that's a bad idea. No such thing. Eventually you might figure out, it doesn't work. But you got to go with your gut sometimes. So it's not science, right? There's certain things you need to do and to make sure that you're developing a business correctly, and sometimes you got to use your gut. It's like, wait, I have an idea. Let's try this, and that's extremely important. But I think I'm going to hand it back to Fabio before we get started in the afternoon with a fun ideation session where we're going to have everybody get together in various teams and do some brainstorming and come up with some problems. And I'm going to take you through 2 tiny elements of our program. What we normally do over 4 months, we're going to do it in like 2 hours, but it'll be fun. So, Fabio, I'll bring you back to introduce the teams.
Before we move to perspiration, we're going to have a little more inspiration. So at this point, we're going to introduce the 4 startups from last year's cohort that are going to present their path to DesignX and beyond. And without further ado, I'm going to call them up one at a time. We're going to start with Rehab. Come on up, Matteo.
Ciao everyone, thank you to invite me here. And so I'm here to present Rehab, but mostly I would like to show you, what we do and how the MIT DesignX program and all the team help us to better implement our idea, but especially our business, okay? So let's start from the beginning. This story started a while ago, thanks to a special person called Marta. Marta is from Murano. She basically has a family business, and she's an expert in the recovering and the production of Murano glass chandeliers, okay? And she's mostly my wife. No, also. And she's thanks to her that almost 10 years ago, by chance, I started working with these guys, glass masters. Okay. We are in Murano. So I started working with them and with their tradition especially. Okay. I'm a designer. I have a background in design and new technology. So my approach to design, it's really research oriented. Okay. I'm always looking for innovation. And with them, at the beginning was tough. But I soon started to, in a way, to blur the line between their tradition and technological innovation. Okay. In Murano, I work on a wide range of projects, okay, that span from product design to research to exhibition design. This is a nice project that can really explain what I do. In this case, with Stefano, which is a glass master in Murano, we try to transform a rigid and fragile material, such as glass, into a shapeable and flexible textile. Okay. And then we turn this solution into a shapeable vase. So in this case, we introduce interaction between the user and the object, which is out of glass, by the way. This is what I basically do in Murano, okay? I try to push the boundaries. And I'm an independent researcher that tries also to tackle contemporary challenges. Also, this is a version of Serapé, which is the collection I just showed you. And in this case, we use glass waste. This is the focus of Rehab. Glass waste is an issue in Murano because we realize, working with Glassmaster, we realize that half, so the 50% of the glass they process is thrown away every year. We are talking more or less about 1,000 tons of glass waste per year. The volume, just to give you an idea, is equal to the Campanile di San Marco. So it's enough for such a small island like Murano. But the problem is not the waste itself, but the problem is that this glass is not recyclable. It's not recyclable. Because only glass container for food and beverage are recycled, while most of the other glass we use is not. Just to give you an idea, general idea, every year in Europe, we produce 8 million tons of non-recyclable glass waste. Talking about volume, is a volume equal to the whole island of Venice. Okay? In the US, it's even worse. So, these waste usually end up here. Not all, but most of this waste goes here. And this is creating a huge ecological, but also economical damage. Okay? So, when we realize that, we start saying, okay, we start thinking if it was possible to find a solution also using new technologies. So, I started experimenting, okay? Trying to be also scientific, but empiric at the same time. We started making our own tools, which were really primitive. But I mean, it was not really important because at the end we were experimenting. We were trying to understanding and learning how to reuse this glass waste in Murano. And we eventually find a new method to manipulate the glass. It was an invention. Basically, we turn the glass waste into a paste, then can be shaped at room temperature. Okay? You can use it. It's like clay. It's dry clay. Okay? And this clay, this paste, can be 3D printed. Our first target was to 3D print this glass at room temperature. We developed, designed, and patent an extruder in order to do it. We built a machine to do it. Okay? Thanks to this solution, we are able to produce a wide range of new objects. Then after a quick step in the oven, this object loses the non-glass part, so we finally have a 100% glass object. So we first started working with Murano Glassmaster, and we validate this process. No? We try to test. With some glass factories, from their waste, we turn their waste into decoration, then Glassmaster apply to their products, and so that we start producing a wide range of prototype and then objects. Okay? These objects are sustainable because they made from waste, but also because the process uses a very little energy. So it was amazing. So we thought we found the perfect object, the perfect also solution. But turning an idea into a business, it's way harder. Why? Because once you have an idea, an intuition, and then you want to turn it into a business, I mean, Gilad introduced, then you have to deal with this, with the market. And you start talking about B2B, B2C, and having, how you get the first client, for example. So at the beginning, since we both, Marta and me, we were into the glass business, let's say, okay, for us was natural to say, okay, let's go to luxury fashion brands. Why? Well, they have money. They love craftsmanship. They love made in Italy. They love this kind of, mixing of tradition and innovation. So we made also interviews, and most of the brand we interview were quite amazed about the process and the object. So we started interacting with them, okay? Also because this is a growing market with a lot of, money and potential. So we said, okay, we can start producing items for them, and then we can eventually start producing our own collections, okay? And while we were, thinking about that, we started attending the MIT DesignX. Okay. And in my opinion, we started really this program with the perfect timing. We were turning our idea into a business, okay, but we honestly had no clue how to do it. Really. You must be honest with yourself first and with the other. Set up a business is not easy. I'm a designer. I studied here at university in Italy, and in Italy, at least at my time, they don't teach you how to be a businessman. They just teach you to design, to use softwares, and that's it. Being a businessman, it's harder. It's really harder than you think. So, this program gave me basically the opportunity to better understand and focus the need, okay, we were intending to satisfy, and who could really benefit. Okay, we thought at the beginning were the luxury brands. With Gilad, the SerenDPT team, Monica, which I'm really happy to see here. She was one of our mentors. And we understood the potential of our solution, which at the beginning were really close to the Murano reality. Okay, we open our minds, we start thinking, also in a way, dreaming about the potential and how to scale it up. And we had a lot of feedbacks here during these months and after. This is an advice. Always talk about your idea to anyone and receive feedbacks. Feedbacks are essential because at the beginning you don't have a clear idea what to do with your solution. So you need feedbacks, and you need bad feedbacks. Bad feedbacks are better than good ones, okay? Because they help you to grow and to better understand what you have in your hands. So thanks to these feedbacks, we've been able to expand our potential, and also as a consequence, our potential market, talking about market. And also we started dreaming. We started to better visualize the process, also after the MIT, because the MIT teach you, this program teach you a method. Okay, it doesn't give you the solution. It gives you the tool to find a solution, okay? And then you have to work hard. The key word at the beginning is work, work, work. 3 words, but it's one. So we start better visualize the process. We start testing different forming solution. We start working with injection. So not only 3D printing, but injection molding, and also rolling. We start making surfaces out of glass. And we basically translated all these experimentation into tool machines that we can eventually sell, okay? So we basically started implementing technology, and this is a way bigger market, and this has a bigger potential than just printing objects for luxury brands, okay? Also because we start testing our process with different glass. So not only Murano glass, but glass from big company, glass from optical fiber companies, and we started interacting with these companies, which are huge, and having this interaction, we realized that there is a huge potential, but also they are really, really interested also in investing on this solution, okay? So that's why we start dreaming and say, okay, so if they are interested, maybe we could promote a kind of complementary recycling chain to process all the glass that doesn't meet the standard to enter the container one, okay? So in this way, with our technology, we could give new value to millions of tons of glass waste that now goes either to landfill or through downcycling processes. It's a long-term vision, okay? It's maybe a dream, but why not? Why not? Okay, so we start dealing with these guys, okay? So our new potential clients, which are could be, in fact, companies who produce or process non-recyclable glass. And also, we start turning our business model, not really turning, but dividing in two phases. Now we are on phase one. As we said, we started producing this capsule collection with luxury brands, okay? But we would like to use this collaboration to implement our technologies and then at some point sell these technologies, okay? Again, this is not one year task. It takes many times, and also it takes a roadmap. So we start thinking to set up a roadmap, okay, with all the milestones, because here the patenting milestones, and then we identify which parameters are important to monitor in order to understand if we are doing well or not. So in case we can change our direction. Again, this is not science. And every time you can understand that you are doing wrong, so you can correct, okay? Finally, we get familiar with cash flow and investors. We are at the beginning, okay? We have a lot of work to do. But yeah, we started working with that, with talking and interaction with joint venture, investor, business angel, all these guys that, I mean, can give you money, but then they ask you back something. So you have to deal with that. You have to understand what are your requests and how you will spend their money, okay? It's amazing. The startup now has more or less 14 months, so not that much. It has been a really super amazing, but at the same time stressful time, okay, I can tell you guys. But I've learned a lot of stuff, also thanks to this program, okay? But mostly, I learned the difference between una piccola media impresa e una startup. Thanks, Monica and Jean-Jacques, for this. No, this is important. Maybe for us Italian, it's a silly difference, but it's not. It's crucial. Because they have a completely different mindset and way of acting and working on the market. If you decided to be a startup, okay, you decided to live in a way, and to live business in a way, okay? So, keep in mind that there is a huge difference. In Italy, we don't see that difference that much, okay? So, they asked me also to tell you what's next. Whoa, during the last year, we have more or less 1 year, okay, as a startup. We've been really lucky. We won a lot of competition, awards, a lot of national newspaper talk about us also recently, and this make us really proud. During this year, we changed the team many times, okay? Because, I mean, you live, especially at the beginning, a kind of continuous stressful situation, okay? Because you have just to work, you have no money, as he said, okay? And you just have to work. You have to set up your daily work by yourself. You have no your boss that is telling you what you have to do. You have to set up by yourself, and then you have to do it. And when you have to do it, well, not everyone is willing to sacrifice their life, their personal balance in order to achieve all the goals we decided to achieve. It has been really liquid as a year, okay? But really amazing. To me, it has been really, really amazing, okay? I'm personally, and Marta as well, we are determined, all the team is determined to go forward. We are also, this is another important lesson that I've learned interacting with Americans. I'm ready to fail. I should not do maybe the day one these things, but fail is part of the process and it's something possible. Okay, and in our culture, failing, it's bad. It's something really, really bad. We don't like failing. We only want to win. But it doesn't work like this. Okay, it doesn't work. So I work on that, we work on that, and now we are ready to play. We are ready to play hard, and we will see our future. And we will see what the future will bring us. We don't know where we'll be in 1 year. Hopefully still here. Thank you.
Where can we buy your products? Where can we buy your products?
Soon, maybe at the Fontego. At the Fontego. Fontego dei Tedeschi, here in Venice. We are dealing. It's a never-ending dealing. At the beginning, you deal with clients, okay? You think it will take 1 month. It will take 3 years. This is another huge issue.
Any questions for him while we switch to computers? Go ahead. Questions, anybody for Matteo? Anyone?
Delle persone mi conoscono. Sì, hanno paura di farmi domande.
Don't be scared. Here's Lorraine has her hand up.
Thank you for the pitch. Maybe you didn't say that, but what stage of your project did you enter in the program of MIT DesignX? What stage of your startup? What stage of the process of your idea did you enter inside the program of MIT DesignX?
How our startup
No, magari lo dico in italiano veloce. A che stadio delle vostre idee siete entrati dentro il programma?
We were at the beginning.
Very beginning.
Say yes.
No prototype of.
Yeah, we made prototype before. Okay, the process more or less were set up, but we were in the process of turning again the idea into a business. Okay, because at the beginning this research, okay, were not intended to become a business. We had this, and we said that it was working. So we said, okay, does it make sense to turn this idea, this process into a business? So we start understanding how this could be possible, and then we turn here.
And also you said that the program helped you to develop methods.
See.
But and at the end of your speech, you show many companies with whom you are in contact for your project. So the methods help you to get in touch with those companies, or the companies came because you were inside the program. Can you explain a little bit more about that?
So you have, this is my experience. Basically, if you are in the program, okay, you will have mentors, 1, 2, 3, whatever. And this mentor help us also to get in contact with companies. So bigger companies, smaller companies. To be honest, these companies you see, they are not directly thanks to the MIT, okay? But in fact, yes, because thanks to this program, I basically turned my idea into a real business so that I could interact with them. That's the things. I guess they will not organize open day with companies so they can help you to find clients. But they teach you how to make the interviews, for example. They push you, they force you to make interviews in order to understand if your idea works or not. And then you, by yourself, will find someone. And for example, in our case, one of the mentors were into the glass business, let's say. That helped us a bit. This was just an example.
Thank you.
Now you're
Answer to my questions.
Grazie, Matteo. Thank you, Matteo. So as you might be able to tell, we became a family in those 3-4 months of work last year. And we do have Monica here, and I don't know if there's any other, there's Constance back there, so raise your hand. So we provide mentors to all the teams. There's only a couple here. And Gilad did a great job of matching the mentors to the topic that the company was working on. So I think everybody that I know of has benefited tremendously from these mentors. But another thing that I told you that we do, besides providing mentors, is we also host and incubate some of the companies that choose to locate in the city of Venice. We incubate them here for free and support them day to day, in their development. And the next one that's presented is one of these companies, and it's called See the Change. Thank you, Alberto.
See the Change. It's an idea, and it's an innovative startup with social vocation, born from 3 environmental economists. And it's born to connect the economic system with ocean protection, with a vision to have healthy ocean in an aware world. But where did it come from? It comes from the ocean's pain. Because of marine litter, biodiversity loss, acidification of oceans are all leading to irreversible climate change. While, at the same time, oceans are our best ally to fight climate change. So we said, why we don't use oceans to fight climate change instead of putting pressure on that? And more than 1.5 years ago, yeah, kind of, this was the vision, I will say, an utopic vision in which we would like to give the possibility to all individuals, and in particular to tourists, to have a real impact in the maritime ecosystem. So we developed our B2C platform in which all individuals could offset their CO2 emission by blue carbon credits generated in the Venice Lagoon ecosystem, remove plastic from the sea, or protect the Posidonia oceanica, the most important maritime ecosystem that we have in the Mediterranean Sea. But then we figured out that without a huge marketing budget and a lot of advisor, was really hard to run a B2C platform. And also thanks to this incubator program and the incubation here, actually our office is there, we started to develop the idea to bring the B2C to B2B. And we started to test the market. So we figured out that in the B2B world, there were market pains about new regulations as the Green New Deal, as Corporate Social Responsibility Directive for companies, also customers that want sustainable items, and their willingness to pay is increasing year by year. But also with investment funds that as ESG criteria on the top on their criteria. And then we develop the idea of the blue tech, of the mechanism to give the possibility to the companies to increase their ESG ranking and protect maritime ecosystem. This is an example on one of our climate projects, is Poseidon, in which we protect midways of Posidonia oceanica, creating important KPIs that companies can insert in their sustainability report and then they can use for their brand reputation. So the solution now is sea-based climate project, aimed to reach carbon neutrality for companies and reach high standard of ESG ranking and increase their brand reputation by following the SDG goals. Now we are in a business stage in which we have 2 brand ambassadors, we have 7 active clients, and we're developing our market. And we participate to 4 international acceleration programs. The journey started in Web Marketing Festival 1 year ago, in which we won 3 prizes, and one of these prizes was actually being incubating here in Giudecca in the factory H3 by SerenDPT, and I will thank SerenDPT and all the team for all the work that they do every day for us. But after knowing SerenDPT, we discovered the MIT DesignX program. And then we made the submission, and we were taken. The cohort of 2022, I would say, was an amazing cohort, really stimulating. We became friends with Matteo and the other guys. We really developed ideas together. We were every day talking about our ideas without any burden. And this is something that I didn't find in any acceleration program. Sometimes people are like, oh, I'm gonna talk about my idea, or I'm like scared to talk about my idea. Here wasn't like that. It was really interesting talking with people every day, and the journey was amazing. And thanks to the cohort, thanks to our mentors, and I will say thank you to Constance, that is one of our mentors that is here, and thanks to Gilad, that it's an amazing mentor, really. We developed the idea, and from the B2C, we are now in a B2B in which we have a market, and we are developing our market. We have more and more clients. We talk every day with companies, corporate, and we're seeing that our product is appreciated. But as Matteo said before, have a startup and develop a startup is in the same line to develop yourself. You have to be elastic. You need to listen to everyone. Bad and good advice. You have to develop yourself. You have to develop your team. You have to overcome problems. And with always in mind that you have to focus your idea, but not to be stuck in your idea, and to start to think out of the box in your idea with advice of the people and people around you. And it's really giving yourself to your startup. If you want that, it could run. Here is where we started. And here is where we want to go. And then, what's next? Who knows? Maybe US, don't know. Those are the SG goals that we are following. and dive into the next level of sustainability with state change. Thank you.
Any questions for See the Change? So we figured we could ask questions at the end of each one of these, and then we have maybe a little more time at the end. Do you have a question?
So there was just an article, I think this week or last week, either New York Times or Wall Street Journal, about ESG in America. And I think this is good for you. The problem is that ESG, there's so much fraud. It's just being used as a marketing tool, and there's actually the most effort, or the biggest metric used for ESG in the United States for funding is the G part, is the governance. And they can be absolutely appalling still in environmental, but just have like good transparency on their board, which kind of could mean nothing. And that just means that there's no good ESG services that are making sure that the work is actually being done. So I'll send you the link to that, and see it as a sign that, yeah, this industry, there's way too many players doing a bad job, and we need people doing a good job. So just wanted to put that out.
Yeah, about that, there is a lot of greenwashing. In our field, there is really a lot of greenwashing. And people are using ESG, SDGs, are just marketing, as you said. But what we do is also to educate people. We're trying to educate to a real impact. And the real impact is with KPIs. It's with reliable KPIs. And what we do is with reliable KPIs. So working and working and working, and trying to not listen to people that just want to make you seen as greenwasher. You have to prove, the proof of reality will bring you results. So, yeah. Thank you.
They will all be here all day, so they live here almost, as startuppers do, right? So the next, so one thing I want to point out is that Luca now lives, his other partner lives in Venice, more or less permanently, and so as we like to say, anytime we add a resident makes our life that much better, so we're happy to have them here. The next presentation is from another member of the cohort of 2022. It's called PESCO, and this is also hosted here. Sandro comes a few days a week to work out of the office here. And more importantly, PESCO is the startup that has been benefiting from the help of a WPI team of students, you can raise your hand again, who have been working for at least, 10 weeks now in the US and here to support the development of PESCO. So I hand it over to Sandro Zanon to explain his experience with PESCO.
All right. Good morning, everyone. I'm Sandro Zanon, like Fabio tells. I'm the co-founder of PESCO. Tomorrow cannot be there also Alberto, my business partner. But yeah, I will try to explain a first part of the business of PESCO, and then maybe it's better the path with MIT DesignX and what can be helpful for everyone that can after the 10 startup of 2022. So, okay, nowadays we are still fighting for the overfishing that cause losses of thousands of species in the world, and we start talking about that like startup Pesco, because it's something linked to our business, obviously. So we are trying to do something also for the sustainable part of this passion and this beautiful activity. Every day, travelers in the world are finding activity of fishing, but they are not able, for the lack of knowledge, of regulation, of local place, to finding them. And meantime, also local fishermen are more willing to share their equipment, their knowledge, to amortize their cost. But the problem is that they have no linking as a social tool or local guide and no visibility. We are trying to create this platform that is a marketplace that should be safe, easy and quick as possible, and trying to matching this two community, because it's two community business, one from the host and one from the guest. So also with that need different needs. With Pesco, we start with creating an idea that is focused on activity and the development of this activity. But thanks to MIT DesignX and SerenDPT, we have the chance to aim our focus on the important part, the matchmaking of this community, and this is the main part of the business. So also with the effort of the VPI students that is very strong, we are trying to create a quality and control system that is helped with a guidebook with rules and approach during the experience for both parts, for host and guest. This is our app that you can see is an MVP. It's in Italian because the sentence was for another presentation, and normal problem that can happen, but is our actual MVP, our map and filter view. And this is the certificate profile for the host, that the guest can understand more about their experience, their boat, their type of fishing technique, and choose in base of their preferred technique. The fishing tourism is a bigger market that you can see this data, but okay, it's a big market that we can try to reach. In Veneto, we have 2,000 of fishermen that is with a license plate of fishing activity, and is willing to trying to find some guests and share their equipment. Our business model is very simple. There's a transaction fee for both of parts during the process of payment, and a premium tier subscribe. A sentence that Fabio always tried to insert in my mind is practice what you preach, because we need to get out with our guests, with our host, and understand the journey to maximize the success of the activity. And this is something that with PI student we are trying to finding and create this guidebook also for the host. In 4-8 months, it's difficult to say what we are trying to do, but for sure we want to enlarge our community of hosts and reach at least 500 of hosts inside the platform to share their activity. We are also the last year part of the Young Blue Minds that is how to say part of UNESCO project that is focused on sustainability on the sea, on the sea environment, and they are trying to understand our idea because they find it sustainable for the part of the catch and release, for example, because during our activity we also trying to not kill the animal. We are always the fishermen starting to go out for a trophy, but there is a lot of fishermen that can share the day and catch a minor trophy. I'll not say sorry, but without wasting the day with 5 boats, 5 trying to catch some fish, create damage. With 1 boat, we can go out in 5 and enjoy also the day. This is the team. I'm Sandro. This is my business partner, Alberto, that is the Fisher Pro. And then there's Davide, our management and business skilled. There's also Giovanni Turri, that is our IT mentor, and is also here somewhere in Venice because he works with a lot of startups and associations for business and startup things. And then Marco, that is my friend from Design University, that is our marketing and graphic expert. Maybe I will try to say something for the part of the pets of MIT DesignX, because okay, maybe I'm not the right words, but every idea needs to be explored. Fuck off the standard approach to mind and shape an idea. You need to focus on the community and then understand what the needs of the people that is trying to reach your effort with your solution. And then start building with the help of everyone, like MIT, SerenDPT, all the incubator in the world, trying to building your idea. But start with exploring the community and their needs. And then you can start with a big improvement. So, yeah, my advice is that I cannot say better than this. All next is up to you, so go out and disrupt the market. This is my advice. Thank you.
Any questions for Sandro of Pesco? There's Laurent. It's connected to your water idea.
Hi, thank you for your talk. Can you explain a bit more how did you build your team, and how does function this team through all the process? So all those persons that you have presented are always present during the meeting of the program. So how did you build your team, and how those persons participate to the growth of your startup?
Yeah, it's kind of interesting story because me and my business partner, for example, we are working. Is my boss, but we are finding this solution together, and we say, why not? We can build this, so we start creating that. But with the team member, for example, Giovanni, our IT mentor, we find in a platform, there's a ton of platform that can help you networking and linking with someone that maybe has your same idea, your same effort for this market, and you can share ideas and then shaping into someone else, a new idea that can be better, can be attractive for someone else member. And for example, then came also Davide. And Davide is friend of friends, but he has this management part. And yeah, Marco, as I say, is my old friend from university, and I'm trusted for the project during the university.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Questions from anyone else? All right, so thank you, Sandro. And last but not least, we're going to hear from another of the startups from last year. This one is called 2Gift. So 2Gift is next and last of the presentations for today.
Ciao, everybody. Ciao. My name is Paolo, and with me, Alfonso and Federico, that is not here today. We are the co-founder of 2Gift. We're going to share how it started and how MIT and SerenDPT helped us to become what we are today. We start from this is the problem that 2Gift is solving. Most of the Italian nonprofits are struggling in getting funds for their activity. I'll give you a short story as example. Back in 2010, I founded a nonprofit called Web4All. Web4All, as the name is suggesting, was doing websites for free for other nonprofits that couldn't afford it. We built a nice community, a lot of people were working with us. But after 2 years, we had to shut down. Why? Because of that. We were spending 80% of our time searching for money to support our nonprofit. So at the end, what I found is that we were not doing what we were born. We were not doing websites for others, but we were just fundraising. That was so sad that the Web4All died, the community, get away, and I started forgetting about the nice thing we did. Fast forward in 2016, I met Alfonso that was developing a very nice idea.
Yes, and so we were running a crowdfunding platform for sport communities, so an activity to fund sport organizations through the crowdfunding system. And we were having a hard time because it was very hard to convince people to participate and to fund, even though the sport fan push we were hoping was enough to make it. But it wasn't. So we decided to go and interview companies, brands, asking them if they were interested in co-funding these projects. And we found out that they were, so that the market and the regulations were pushing them in funding and communicating with the local communities. But they were not giving us money, but they were giving us budgets in gift card. So we were putting these gift cards inside the crowdfunding campaigns to fund the projects, so that people were donating and receiving the gift card of the same amount in exchange. That's how we decided to restart with a new project that was based on solving the problem that Paolo was describing before, optimizing companies' marketing and charitable giving. How?
We build a platform, a web app, to fund social projects using gift card as a reward for the supporter. It's like a crowdfunding campaign, but boosted by the gift card reward. I'll give you an example to better understand how it works. So let's say Despar is a big supermarket chain, wants to engage a local community in Verona because of a new store opening. So Despar goes on to Gift and chooses Abeo, a non-profit that wants to restore a building to host cancer families. So Despar allocated a 50,000 euro in gift card budget for this project, and we create and launch a campaign on 2Gift. And both Abeo and Despar spread the word about it. Alice, that knows Abeo and cares about Abeo's activity gets aware of this campaign and decides to support the campaign with a €10 donation. At the same time, she is rewarded with a €10 gift card. So Alice now can go grocery shopping in all of the stores of Despar with the gift card she had as a reward, knowing that at the same time, with her shopping, she's supporting and helping the building restoration. Like Alice, other 600 people did the same, and that's what happened. That's a real story, that's a true story. The building, the project was funded, and the building was restored. And we call that a win-win-win formula, because everybody wins. People would get rewarded for the support because they got the gift card, so almost donating at zero cost. For the company, the SPAR, they got a new way to engage new customers. They got a huge reputation because they were telling that what they did. You know? And also they got precise metrics because thanks to the gift card, they knew how many people were supporting, where they were using the gift card. So metrics about their campaign, marketing campaign. And also for Abeo was a new way to get money, almost doing just talking about the project. And it's something that could be repeated easily in the future. But how the MIT and SerenDPT helped us to achieve this project and this success?
It was at first when Fabio approached us and told us about the project, the program. We were kind of skeptical. Because we have a lot of things to do to, push our startup, and we were kind of confident about what we were doing. But luckily, we decided to join the program because it was really a deep dive that was extremely needed, that put us in a lot of discomfort, actually. So with Paolo, we always say that going back to Padova from here, we usually had a huge headache because we were forced in rethinking and really reconnecting to the before the idea. So to the real roots of what was the motivation why we were doing this and how we were doing it. With concerning every single aspect that we didn't even consider, like here we have, for example, our business model. We spent a lot of time in thinking about it and rethinking about it, and it's an ongoing process to this day. For us, it was extremely important, all the work that we have made on understanding the market. And we were very, bohemian in thinking that we were approaching the non-profit market that was gigantic, and non-profit organizations will run and use us. And it wasn't like that. And through the process of the MIT DesignX, we realized that we needed to go back where we had connections, where it was easier to get in touch with the stakeholders and the decision maker of the brands that we were contacting. And so we went back to our sport organization sector area, and it was extremely positive for us. And we'll see why afterwards. But maybe the most important thing was that working together and working with the other startups and with the mentors helped us really reconnect in a more positive way with the team, and understanding what we wanted to bring and what was needed. And that was extremely important because right now, yesterday we were talking with a new member that is going to join us. That is something that came out in these classrooms. We realized that we needed that. and we needed to find this this person with these skills that was marketing and communication. So the thing that I was mentioning before is that looking back right now, this is the pitch that we made at the end of our MIT DesignX progress, and we were putting some of these companies as somebody we wanted to work, and it's happening. So we are running right now a campaign with Decathlon. That for us is a huge accomplishment. We're going to fund a project in Genova for a gigantic primary class tournament that goes on every year. It's called Torneo Ravano, and you can find it online on our web app right now. And we have just finished a big project with the Non Solo Sport, that is another sport apparel big chain here in Italy. And we are very proud because we have also worked with other successful stories and organizations.
And one of those organizations that is called Venice Calls is the thing that helped us to meet with Fabio, because I was here just next to this place, talking with Venice Calls and explaining how to gift works. And that's where I met Fabio that said, hey, your idea is very nice. Why don't you apply for the MIT DesignX program? And I say, okay, why not? And that happened. And thanks to SerenDPT, we were able to join the program. We were able to stay in this beautiful place, and we were able to make all of that stuff happen. So really thanks to Fabio, SerenDPT, and Gilad, and the MIT DesignX. We are really grateful to them for everything.
Thank you.
We don't pay them to say these things. Any question for...
I have a question. Will you folks be here this afternoon?
No, unfortunately.
Would we be able to talk right after this meeting? I represent a nonprofit that I'd like to speak to you about.
Sure.
Super.
Sure,
Thank
why
you.
not?
Absolutely.
Sure.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, so I think we're just about... So thank you again.
Okay. Well, thanks, guys. That was... It's wonderful to hear the teams like 6 months forward, see how they're going. We've been talking to them, but the presentations today and just to see where you've taken this is fantastic. I've tons of great words and respect for you as much as you do for the program, so thank you. What we're going to do, we have basically two tables have been assigned. We didn't know how many people would arrive, so we just started giving numbers to people. And the point of the numbers now is that you're going to be, for the next few hours, including eating and talking, we want you, together with us, and we're all going to come around as well, to start brainstorming some new possible ideas that need to be solved in the city. We also have a few people here who already have ideas, who already have businesses. And it would be great if you could also introduce those as well in the conversations. What we want to see in the next couple hours, I'm just going to go over how we're going to do this, is sharing of ideas. So somebody here mentioned how the more you talk, the more feedback you get, the more things develop. It's a fantastic way, even if you have an idea already, or if you're just thinking of something, to talk about it. And you don't have to start a business today, so it's not under pressure, right? But we do want to see these ideas percolate, and then we're going to do in the afternoon, right after lunch, and maybe I should use my slides to explain, right after lunch, we're going to do 2 exercises based on this brainstorming you're going to do. One will be to come up with a problem statement. So this is the thing that we're kind of talking about a lot, that if you can't really describe what the need is, it's going to be much harder to do, well, anything, period, but definitely to develop a business or a solution. So we're going to do an activity, this is part of our program really, to write a sentence, right? Sounds really easy, you know, one sentence, and it can be actually quite difficult. I see Paolo laughing in the background, because I think it took you like a month to write the sentence, which is good, that's what it should take. But we're going to do that actually quickly, get it started today, and then have fun thinking about possible solutions. We have this activity called How Might We? How might we solve, right? And so we're going to do these two things this afternoon. And you know, we're a small enough group that we're going to just have little discussions together and sharing of ideas and see how that goes. This slide is identifying we had 4. I made it 5 and then I added a question mark so I could fill up 6 squares nicely. Issues in Venice, right? So historical preservation, over-tourism, environmental issues, it sounds like a big general topic, urban tech, or the introduction of technology, smart tools in city governance and management, population loss, of course, and others, right? And this is because other people know more what problems exist here or in any city that you live. And what we want is for you to think, based on these 6, and the 6th one is easy because it could be anything, but based on these 6 prompts, basically, looking around and identify. You might already have something, you're just ready. Or you could just go and, even during the lunch break, say, wait a minute, why is it like that, right? And I always stumble upon things thinking, this is ridiculous. Why does it have to be like this? It could be better. There's I'm not sure if somebody saw yesterday in America, a bridge collapsed, right? So there was a highway in Philadelphia, and a big tanker went underneath it. I'm not sure exactly what happened. It smashed into the bridge, went on fire. The heat from the fire then made the highway collapse. This is like a 10-lane highway, major freeway in Philadelphia. And now there's no freeway. They gotta fix it. Now, the first thing they say is, oh, it's gonna be like months and months and months, and like, wait a minute. So I was thinking about this actual bridge. Like, there's no way this is gonna take months, right? We can make a bridge, right? The Army can make a bridge in 6 hours if they need to, right? There is a way to do something. People are not thinking, I hope somebody will, but people are not thinking, wait a minute, there's a different way that we could solve this issue. And the problem here is not a lack of technology. The problem is thinking a little bit outside the box and what is the most important thing. So in this case, the most important thing is there's a lot of trucks use this highway. They have to get this thing fixed as fast as possible to at least get things started. Then they can think of a more long-term solution, right? So the easiest thing, in my opinion, they don't need the road underneath it today. They need the highway on top of it. That's the more important thing. Fill it up. Make a berm. Fill it up with earth. Put a highway. Get the highway open. Then figure out how to make a bridge, and this is done mostly in Europe, not enough in America, where you prepare a tunnel ahead of time and slide it into place within 3 days. So it can be done, but the problem is maybe they are, but I doubt it. They're not thinking, what is the most important thing and how could this be better? And all you have to do is think about it for I spent like an hour, like, wait a minute, there's gotta be a better way, a little bit of internet searching. Yeah, we could do this differently. So same thing, if you can use the next hour really to think about how things could be different for you, for other people that you see. It's not just necessarily your problem, it could be somebody else's. So everybody has a number. How did this work? Did everybody get a number when they came in? So you're either a number 1 or a 2, I think. Are there any 3s? We didn't get the 3. Okay. Anybody not get a number? Okay. But we have more than... How many numbers did we give out for each number? 5 for each one. Okay. So we have 2 teams of 5. It seems like more than 10 people. What? Okay, well, let's make sure everyone gets a number, but we should be able to have 3 tables, I'm assuming. Okay. And table meaning, yeah, you're going to sit at a table together, but you don't have to be sitting there. In fact, you could walk around, go grab something to eat, and even walk around Giudecca and start to just think of things that haven't been thought of before, or that you haven't thought of before, and bring that to the table. It could be physical, it could be not something you see, it could be something that is more of a system that's in place here. Use your own expertise, your own knowledge to come up with at least 5 different ideas, different issues that are problematic, that maybe are not being dealt with. Does that make sense? And we're going to use that for our mini ideathon this afternoon, but we need to have something to start with. And what ideathons often lead to is the next step, which is the accelerator, which Fabio already talked about and gave you the information and the QR code, so I'm not going to talk about that anymore. But here it is again, and that's the QR code that gets you to this SerenDPT website to do the application, all the information that we have here. I think I've already talked about this. These are the 4 phases, if you remember. We're going to be touching on 2 little bits of it. We're going to be touching on the needs. So the first thing we do in the program, first thing any accelerator should do is a needs analysis, a market, and then followed by a market research, right? You don't start with the idea, you start with, okay, what is going on, what's wrong? So that's what we're doing. And then we're just going to touch on number 2 today, which is this part of the solve, which is problem solution fit. Okay, I figured out my problem. You're going to do it quickly today. And then what could be the solution? We're going to be jump-starting those ideas, and we say we're doing this by design, because remember I showed you this thing at the beginning, right? So this is what we say is the wrong way to do things, right? You jump into it, you have the idea, and then you start making a business. Right? It has to be this. Yes, you have the idea, you have to start with something, for sure, but then you have to spend a lot more time in design. So we're going to be, at the very beginning, starting with that initial point, right? There, could be there, could be there, could be there. It's somewhere in this mess that you're starting something, and then just like with glass, you didn't know where it was going to go. Started experimenting, this, that, and then you get to something. But you had that initial prompt of glass waste that got you going, right? Of a system that didn't work for nonprofits, that got you going. There was a need. And then you got messy, and something comes out of it. So we say design is a process that is different from an analytical process, right? There's a lot of bouncing around, there's a lot of fantasy, there's a lot of experimentation. It's always iterative. You're always trying something new, and then you throw things away. I look in my files sometimes to see what I did 5 years ago. I'm like, wow, that was ridiculous. But that's what it was on that day. So it wasn't ridiculous that day, it's ridiculous today, but I had to go through it. And then the plan again for today is to do 2 things. The framing, problem framing, right? You're not problem solving yet. You have to frame the problem. You have to know the context, the reason, the size of the problem. You'll need to do a lot of research. We won't do all that research today, obviously, to frame the problem. And then you can start crafting a solution, designing, building. So we're going to do this. The first thing, you're going to meet your teams, and we want you to get to know each other. Doing that lunch and brainstorming, and the brainstorming is on site, actually looking around. Take pictures, right? Talk to people if you need to, for sure. I know if you want to go to the other side, you can, but you probably just stay on Giudecca, rather than, unless you have a boat and feel like going around. Anybody come by boat today? You came by boat, great. So, like to go for a spin. We're going to come back at 3, sorry, not 3. We're going to, after this, this first hour being out, or hour and 15 minutes, we're going to be back here at 1:30, and we're going to start sharing the things that you found. Okay, so it's going to become, we're going to sit in a, maybe we'll arrange a circle here, so we're not facing the stage anymore. We're just going to share those ideas, and then I'm going to lead you into the problem statement activity, followed by that solution ideation. So that's the plan for today. It might end earlier than that, and then we'll have, there's probably a spritz, early spritz, okay? We won't keep the spritz away for too long. And there is a prize, the spritz, okay? What you'll need to do, actually can't forget this guy. We talked about Edison, but we got to talk about Einstein too. At least we think Einstein said this. Let's say he did. Nobody's exactly sure. But he said if I had an hour to solve a problem, I'd spend 55 minutes thinking about the problem, and then 5 minutes thinking about solutions. So it's really the problem that we have to spend a lot more time on. And this is just something to always think about. And then what we do, if you want to know why we're DesignX, we actually wanted to know as well. DesignX is the letter X can mean so many different things. In Italian, it became something else, which worked out well for DesignX, like of Venice, right? What? Per Venice, okay. But when we were thinking about X, we were thinking about the unknown, right? So if you think about in mathematics, X is something. You have to solve for X. So when you're designing the X, you're designing really the unknown. But the unknown is within a certain context, and we say it's within 3 things: science, technology, and people. Not necessarily business. Business is something that wraps up everything together, right? But the science and the technology that will then empower whatever you're creating or doing, and the most important thing, the people, are all going to be part of the solution and getting to this unknown, which will then become something that is obvious one day when you actually create it. Sorry, I took away your photograph. Did you get it? Yes. Sorry. I know people go to take a picture, then I change the slide at the last second. Sorry. So today you're going to be connecting and ideating, thinking a bit, and then we're going to choose one thing to work on, by the way. So you might come up with 10 ideas. You're going to go with one, but we'll do that at 1:30. So don't narrow it down yet. You're going to frame the problem. We're going to share, state it, and then you're going to start solving, show it, spritz. All right. So meet your teams. So all ones get together, all twos get together. Everybody who doesn't have a number, you're threes. Is that right? Yeah, we got 3. Okay. And if we have more people, then we'll make a 4. Whatever it takes. But make sure you're a group of people, and you're going to spend the next hour plus together. Get something to eat, drink, and start writing down and taking pictures of those ideas. Any questions? All right. Go start sailing. And we're around.
All right, we'll see you at 1:30.
And 1:30, back here.
Back here at 1:30.
Thank you.